So the first question says, which of the following are benefits of migrating to the cloud? So now why people want to migrate to the cloud, right? That's the first most important question what you will get in your mind when you start studying cloud. So is it some that you're getting some discounts on Amazon? Obviously not, right? So, and moreover, you'll want to increase your staff retention, you want to retain your staff or something? No. And whereas business excellence occurs, business excellence is about how you can, improve your business in terms of like how to manage your business and all. So that's not what AWS does not manage what you have to do in your business. Okay. Now, coming to operational resilience, what do you mean by this term? Let's see this term first. So, operational resilience means giving you security, giving you safety, and continuity of operations. So, what happens is due to some disaster or whatsoever, AWS has such mechanisms through which your business can even run in disaster problems. So, it has highly managed services which you can use to have secured, safe, and continuity of operations. So definitely why you want to move to cloud, you want to have operational resilience is one. And as our answers question suggested, give us two answers. So let's see what is business agility. So now business agility means what? Change. So AWS can easily adapt the change in less time and reduce the cost without affecting your quality. So that's the best part, right? You want to reduce your cost without getting the quality affected, will attract you more customers basically. So yeah, so our answer to this question is operational resilience and business agility. Next. Now, which AWS service or feature allows users to connect with and deploy AWS services programmatically? Option 1, AWS Management Console. No. Why? Because AWS Management Console is your service console through which you manage your AWS services. It will not allow you to, programmatically manage the thing. No. Cloud9 is basically our AWS Cloud IDE, which lets you run your code, debug your code with just a browser. Then SDK, software development kits. So software development kits are the ones which helps you in simplifying your code by providing the JavaScript objects for AWS services. Every language has its own AWS SDK. Java SDK. For Java, you have an AWS SDK. For Python, you have an AWS SDK. So next we come to code pipeline. So what is code pipeline? It's a fully managed continuous delivery service that helps you automate your release pipelines, fast and reliable application and infrastructure updates. So to users to connect with and deploy AWS services programmatically is code pipeline. Next question. A company wants to migrate its workloads to AWS, but it lacks expertise in AWS cloud computing. Which AWS service or feature will help the company with its migration? Now, what it is trying to ask is that if I want to migrate my company business to cloud, but I do not know what is cloud computing, I have no idea, and whom should I go for help, and how can I make my migration smooth and easy? So, trusted advisor. So, what is AWS trusted advisor? They give you some recommendations that help you follow the best practices. Like you can trust them and they will give you advice how you can have your best practices to follow AWS migrations and stuff. So, this will not help us, to understand completely how to migrate. It will just tell you what are the best practices you can get for AWS. Next, coming to artifacts. So artifacts are what? It is a central resource for compliance related information. Okay. So again, that won't help you in the migration process. Now, managed services is what? Set of services for automating infrastructure management. So the correct answer is AWS consulting partners. They help you design, architect, build and migrate and manage your applications in the cloud, and also the workload. They suggest you what way you can migrate your project. So the answer to this question is AWS consulting partners. Next question. Which AWS service or tool should a company use to centrally request and track service limit increases? Okay, now every service will be having some limit. So before you go to the high bill payments, we really want to see how can you limit the services, right? So what is AWS config? It is a service that enables you to access, audit and evaluate the configurations of your AWS resources. Okay. Next, what is AWS Service Catalog? It allows organizations to create and manage catalogs of IT services that are approved for use on AWS. It's like what service does what and how you create and how you manage the service, a kind of catalog for that. Okay, like how you have a catalog for the products, right? Similarly. Now, budget helps you set the custom cost and usage budgets so that you get an alert when the threshold are exceeded. Suppose here you can set a alarm also that whenever I exceed $100, so that time I should get an alarm so that I know, okay, fine, my budget is being exceeding, I need to take care about it. So the correct answer to this question is the maximum number of resources that you can create in an AWS account. You have a service quotas, so it gives you a way to centrally request and track service limit increases. Next, which task requires using AWS account root user credentials? Now coming to this, viewing the billing information, like if I have a root account and I have sub accounts for developers, for my production people, for my QA people, if I have different AWS accounts. Okay, so anyone who is using my service, I can give them the ability to view the billing option. Okay, so for that I don't need, okay fine, only the root account user has to sign in and check the billing information. Starting and stopping EC2 instances, obviously not. EC2 instances are what? They are compute instances, how you have your computer, right? So EC2 is like the virtual computer, I would say. Then opening and AWS support case. No, if you have encountered any problem in your service, you can open a AWS support case, the team through which you can talk to and they can help you solve the problem in your service. So the main task which requires out of these to use your account root credentials is if you want to change the AWS support plan. I'll do a detailed video on AWS support plans because there are a lot of points to discuss on that. So guys, let me know how was this session, and if you find it useful, I'll be creating it more videos ahead. And if any one of you wants me to do a real exam questions with a tutorial on solutions architect associate, please let me know. I will start a tutorial on that. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment box below. I'll be happy to help you out. First question for this session is which AWS services can be used to connect the AWS cloud and on-premise resources? So you have some data in your on-premise resource and you have it in AWS. How will you connect those? So let's see each options one by one. What is AWS managed services? So managed services is like a complete package of enabling, building and operating to help you adopt AWS, help your business to adopt AWS. So what happens in enablement is that it will create a baseline, and as you can see like here in the diagram, that it picks up input one by one and tries to process it. In the next step, it tries to understand that what can be the fastest way to integrate, develop and migrate your workloads, and then finally it starts its operations, which gives you operational outcome and which benefits you with all these points like integrate, improved security, focus on automation, then stronger compliance, reduced operating cost, simplified management, and frictionless innovation. So from the exam point of view, you really need to understand the services better, like how it works and in what scenario you want to use it. Okay. So let's see the next one, that is AWS managed VPN. So this is what the Amazon VPC. Okay, one thing, the all the images what I have taken from AWS documentation. So I'll put the link down in the description box. You guys can check if you want to read more about it. So now coming to AWS managed VPN. So this is like in Amazon, everything inside a VPC, okay, in AWS. So inside VPC you have AZs. What is AZ? AZ is a data center, okay. So you can have two or more data centers, okay. So this is my one AZ, this is my second AZ. They have VPC subnet 1, subnet 2, and EC2. EC2 we saw last time, it's a compute, virtual computer. Okay, then here you have a virtual private gateway is a part of your VPC, which gets a IP secured, internet protocol secured connection to your on-premise location, which has a customer gateway through which it is attached. So virtual private gateway gets attached to the through the IP set to customer gateway is one way to connect with your AWS cloud and to your on-premise location. So as in the question we saw, we need two correct answers. So this is one of them. Now coming to cloud HSM. So cloud HSM is basically when you want to encrypt your cryptographic operations you want to perform on your key management and all. Cloud HSM provisions and manage your own single tenant HSM. HSM is hardware security models to generate and use your own encryption keys. And how it monitors using CloudWatch and provisions audit logs to provision backup and restore HSM to upload it to the customer account. This all it does by the Cloud Trail service. So next coming to direct connect. So what is direct connect? Direct connect allows a customer, a business basically, to establish a dedicated network connection between your location and your office or your business data center. Next coming to Amazon Connect. So Amazon Connect is a package of agent and managers. Agent has the effective tool in one UI to deliver productive customer conversations. Manager is like an machine learning powered contact center where you can set up your call quickly and if you want to make changes in minutes, not months. And why is this useful? It is useful for fast, secure, high quality, personalized customer service. So what's the correct answer? AWS Managed VPN and AWS Direct Connect. Coming to next question. Which service supports resolution of public domains to IP addresses or AWS resources? Public domain names, the key word here. Public domain names to IP addresses. Now, what is SNS? SNS is a pub sub model of messaging. It's a notification service. It stands for simple notification service. Okay, this is the diagram. So you have a publisher who wants to publish some messages on the AWS management console customer interface, okay, or through the SDK APIs, and the monitoring and CloudWatch matrix you can check it in the AWS CloudWatch service. So our question was regarding domain names. So this is one of the option. Let's see why not other option. Now a hosted zone. Hosted zone is also a part if you study comes under Route 53. So hosted zone is a container of records and records contain information how you want to route. In this hosted zone, there are two types, public hosted zone and private hosted zone. So public hosted zone contain records that specify how you want to route the traffic on the internet. And what private hosted zone will do is it will see how to route the traffic in the Amazon VPC, not on the internet. Okay, that's the difference between private and public hosted zone. Now coming to CloudFront. You have seen when you log in into Netflix in a different country, like suppose if I am in Germany and if I am in India, it will automatically your Netflix will understand that okay, now I am connected to India, so I will show shows on in Indian account, and if you're connected to US or some other country, as I said Germany, it will show the shows according to Germany area. So how does that happen? That happens because there is an nearest edge location. Sorry, there's a nearest edge location. Okay, that is in the form of AWS CloudFront. Okay, what it does is it caches and serves the static and dynamic content. When end user requests something, then it will check if it has it in the nearest location in the form of CloudFront. If it has in the nearest edge location, then it will give it to that. So what happens, your like instead of querying the actual server, it caches and it keeps it that if this query comes, I will give it. Every cache has a TTL, a time to live. So according to that, if the cache it's there in cache, it will give it. If not, it will go and query the main server. Okay. So the correct answer is we needed public domain names to IP addresses. So you saw, right, Route 53 DNS resolver and all that concept. So the correct answer is Route 53. So next, which service is used to enable multi-factor authentication? Now let's see the services one by one. Now, security token service, it helps it, as it said, the word says token. So what it does is enables you to request temporary limited privilege credentials for limited time. It gives you some credentials through which you can log in and your users can authenticate. Then EC2 we have seen in the last video. It is a virtual computer where you can run your applications. Then IAM is Identity Access Management. It is a framework of policies and technologies to ensure that the right users have the appropriate access to the technology resources. So in the root account, when you create a root account to log in inside AWS, that time when you want to enable multi-factor authentication, you use IAM service. We'll see what is KMS also. KMS is key management system that lets you create, manage and control cryptographic keys. So the correct answer to this is AWS IAM. This is very important from the exam point of view. You will definitely have one question regarding multi-factor authentication in the exam. Next, which AWS service is primarily used for software version control? So Cloud9, I'll not talk about. We have already seen in the earlier video that it's an IDE used in browser IDE given by AWS. Then CodeStar is when you provide the tools you need to quickly develop, build and deploy applications on AWS. Then the code deploy, it automates your application deployments. Code commit, it is a secure, high scalable, managed source control service that hosts private Git repositories. Straightforward approaches. Okay, so the correct answer is code commit. Why? Because it will control how you host, and you're having the source control in it. Once you commit, then it will have another versions. So according to that, the answer is code commit. Next, which of the following is a principle of good AWS architecture design? So monolithic design. So now what is monolithic design? That you have the whole application, single application for the whole project. So what happens if you make a single change and that does not work well with you? So what will happen? The application will crash. The whole application will crash. So you need monolithic design follows tight coupling because it is tightly coupled to each other. If anything fails, the application is completely down. Then coming to implement single points of failure. That's what AWS wants to avoid, that it should not have a single point of failure. So it can never be a good design of AWS architecture. Then coming to vertical scaling. Now, let me explain you what is horizontal, what is vertical. So, horizontal scaling means that you scale by adding more EC2 machines into your pool of services. Okay, that means if you're not able to manage with one machine, you're adding another machine. If you're not, a third machine, fourth machine. This way, you are keeping on adding resources. Okay, and what vertical scaling means is that you add more power to an existing EC2 machine. Like suppose you can increase the RAM, you can increase the vCPU limit. Horizontal scaling combined with a loosely coupled architecture introduce an additional level of resiliency. So what does loosely coupled architecture say? It reduces the interdependencies, so that one change, like you have microservices, so one change in one microservice will not affect the other. Like it should be independent, you should have very less interdependencies, so that will, it will not cascade to other components failure. So that is a better design of AWS cloud architecture. First question: which AWS support plan comes with a technical account manager? Now this is regarding the support plans what we have for developer, business, enterprise and basic. So let me just show you the AWS docs where we have this plans in detail. So here you can go to this link, awsamazon.com premium support plans. So here you will find developer, business, enterprise, on-ramp and enterprise. So you have trusted advisor checks. These are only service quota and basic security checks in developer, full set of checks in all others. So this way you can come general guidance, system impaired, and how much time it takes for the production downtime. This is very important. Okay, like if you take an enterprise one, which most of the big enterprises do take, so in less than 1 hour the production system downtime. Our question was regarding technical account manager. So yes, enterprise is the one, enterprise, on ramp and enterprise. So this is the one which has TAM assigned to it rather than developer or business. Okay, and what it does is proactively monitor your environment and assist with optimization and coordinate access to programs and AWS experts. Let's go back to the question. So the correct answer is enterprise. Next, coming to which pricing options are available when using Amazon EC2 reserved instances. So now, as we discussed last time, EC2 is a compute service. Okay, it's a virtual computer. So you have various types of EC2 request you can make based on what way you how much you want to use. Like if you want on demand instance, reserved instance if you want for 1 year or 3 year term. Okay, so in that you have, what happens is you either pay all upfront or you either pay partial upfront. So the correct answer to this is all upfront and partial upfront. I'll put the link for reading about this in detail in the description box. So which database allows you to scale at the push of a button without incurring any downtime? So it's a fancy term that let's say that you can scale your instance resources using graphical user interface. Like within a push of a button, within a click, you can either change the size of your instance, memory, CPU, disk, either up or down. It's given to you only by DynamoDB. So the correct answer is DynamoDB. Next, which IAM entity can be used for assigning permissions to AWS services? So now let's go option by option. What it is saying, assigning permissions to AWS services, okay? Not defining, assigning. IAM access key ID and secret access key. This is the form of signing in to your AWS account in a programmatic way. Okay. IAM policy is used to define the permissions, what kind of permissions you have to give. Okay, and so security token service I won't be discussing, I have discussed in my previous video in part 2. You can just check it out, I'll put the link in the I button above. And let's see what is IAM role. I'll explain you. Now I'll give a very general life example so that you understand in detail. Okay, see, suppose it's a story of a mom and daughter and her mom's friend. Okay, so the mom says, Sia, can you please bring some stuff from my friend's house? She says, okay, mom. And then she goes to her aunt and she says, Aunt, I have come to take mom's stuff. She might have called you. So that aunt says, yes, I will give it to you, Sia. So now the role is very clear here. For this lady, this person is her friend's daughter. And for Sia, this person is her aunt, her mom's friend. Okay, that's the reason they can communicate to each other. Similarly, if AWS services do not know each other, they will not be able to communicate. So to communicate to each other, they should be given a role. So the correct answer is IAM role. Hopefully this example helped you understand what is IAM role exactly. Now, what are edge locations used for? Okay, we studied this when we were studying CloudFront in the earlier video. So they are public facing APIs for S3? No. They are used for terminating VPN connections? No. They are used by regions for inter-region and connectivity? No. They are used by CloudFront for caching content. Because what CloudFront does is it has various edge locations. On the edge location, it will store its cached data. And once the user requests, it will go to the nearest edge location. Do you have my data? Yes, I do. So it will give you the data. It will not go and query the main server. That's what CloudFront caching content is about.